What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Perspectives. And today we are going to be talking about Marvel's Saving Grace, the Fantastic Four First Steps movie review. I didn't really say that with the question mark in the title, but you know, the keyword game is real. But yeah, my name is Holden Stefan Roy. Joining me today is Liddy Bro Flacco. As always, we are live here Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And today we are talking about the Fantastic Four First Steps movie that just came out. That's right, we both went to the theaters to watch this one. So it's brand new. There was no piracy involved in this. It was pure enjoyment of movie theater action. Well, I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm not going to speak for you. I'm going to assume you enjoyed it from Facebook, though. But yeah. Sorry, say that again.
I enjoyed it a lot.
I bet. So yeah, definitely let us know in the comments what you thought about the new Fantastic Four movie as well. We certainly want to hear your opinions on it. And yeah, so hi Lindell. It's good to see you there.
What up,
So,
Lindell?
so I'm not sure how you want to start this off, but I will say when I got the 3D tickets, right? And so I thought, superhero Marvel movie, lots of 3D action, great time. And apparently this was not the movie for 3D tickets because there was not a lot of 3D action that went on in this film. Would be my first thoughts. It was a lot of interesting depth perception of people standing around. Yo, I'm not even hating on the movie, but you know, like when you go into a superhero movie, you kind of expect a certain degree of 3D. Like it should be a good 3D vibe. This is not the one. That would be my first thoughts on this movie.
I mean, I wasn't again right. Like I wasn't insisting on 3D. You insisted on 3D.
Yeah, because I haven't gone
Like
in ages.
okay,
I like 3D. It's fun. I mean, I get it. It's not for everyone, but it's like it's fun in the context of a movie that has a lot of 3D action type stuff going on, which like the scene with like that whole chase scene with the surfer lady, that shit was fire. But a lot of the movie was not that. um, yeah,
tell
this
us about your 3D experience, right? Because that's different than my
But so
experience.
yeah, like the parts where it's actiony, where like Mr. Fantastic be stretching and stuff like that is cool, but like there wasn't that much real action in the movie, and that's where the 3D shines. So in movies where it's a lot of dialogue and standing around, and like more of the, I feel like it was very character driven in that regard. It's not really worth the 3D. Is the reality of it, but the scenes were hype where it played off, but by the end of it, I was like, I could have lived without it. I could have just chilled with no 3D on that. But I don't really think it enhanced or really took away from the movie. It was kind of like, well, if you were there in 3D, cool, but super unnecessary for this film. Whereas I could see how something like a Endgame would be fucking next level in 3D.
True, 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 true.
But yeah,
Wait, you said the last before you were did you say before we got on the
yeah.
last Marvel movie you saw was how long ago?
It was literally like, I don't know. I saw the first couple ones. Uh, I don't even remember which one it was, but it was in the very early phases of Marvel dropping their current run. So it was like it wasn't Thor. It wasn't Thor, but it was like a couple movies before Thor or something like that, like a Hulk or something. I don't know which one. I know I saw the Iron Mans. I saw the beginning ones, but somewhere around 2012, 10, 11. I just I just said I wasn't. I realized what it was becoming like, and actually something I thought about is I realized it was becoming a serious commitment of a lot of things, and I wasn't sure I was down to go on that ride. From what I understand, it's the ride was worth it for the people that went on that ride, but I did not. And then I remember vividly a post you made about Marvel and how if you are not up to date and you did not make the effort to catch up, just in the corner because you don't deserve to know all the nuances. And watching this movie, I felt like that last scene. I don't know who the fuck that was. I don't know what the hell they were hinting at. It just was a guy, and I was like, right, I don't know all of this. I don't even really know who Galactus is. I kind of know what he is. I don't even know where this fits into the chronology of things. To me, this was like, okay, there's a lot that I don't know going into this movie. That being said, great movie. Starts off with a clear, this is what happened in the one we're following up, so you don't need to watch the old one. You get this great introduction that catches you up to speed. And independent of the rest of the MCU, this film is very enjoyable for somebody that has no idea what the fuck is going on. And
I was
I
gonna say
really did appreciate
you
that.
don't need to necessarily know, right? Like even if you walk into this movie without knowing who Galactus is, you get to find out in this movie who
Yeah.
Galactus is. He's a
Yeah.
guy who eats planets.
For some reason. And he just, and then
His
there's,
hunger.
and then there's the lady. That's not the Silver Surfer. That's some lady that's also a Silver Surfer, right? Like that's a
Oh, that
separate.
is Silver Surfer.
Silver Surfer is a lady. I didn't even know that shit, bro. I didn't know that was Silver Surfer.
I mean, here's
They
the
don't
thing:
actually
it's
say her name in the movie,
all about.
right? Well, that name
Um,
they say, but anyway, I was like, all right,
I mean, this is a movie in another. So, like the main universe that Iron Man and the main MCU universe exists in is different than this universe that we're exploring over here. So that's why
right,
the Silver Surfer is not a man. He's a woman in this universe, or she's a woman in this universe. Instead of it being him who saves his planet, it's his main love interest that saves his planet. So like instead of it being Norrin Rad who like gets Galactus to not eat his planet by becoming his herald, in this universe, his woman, which I don't even think was his wife yet, or maybe it was his wife because they already had kids, but she saved the planet and became Galactus's herald in this
right.
universe. Um, the
Valid.
Chads were the Chads were super upset about that. The Chads were chatting.
Why?
They don't like the idea of women replacing. They don't like the idea of white men being replaced as characters in all of this stuff. And so Robert Downey Jr. passed away as Iron Man in
Right.
in the Marvel Cinematic Universe at the end of Endgame. You mentioned Endgame. That's why I asked you what
No,
was
I
the
mean
last.
I've seen enough shit about Endgame to know that it's like a lit popping ride, right? Where I imagine that one would be really good for a
But you
3D
didn't.
experience.
But you didn't watch Endgame.
No, no, I did not.
Word.
Just seen scenes. I've seen enough scenes because it's unavoidable to
It's
see.
definitely it's one of those, right? Like it's like Star Wars at this point. Like it's literally a part of American pop culture zeitgeist. Um, it's the highest grossing movie of all time. Let me Google highest grossing movies of all time.
Uh,
Uh, list of
so it
highest grossing films.
says Avatar on Wiki, and then
Avatar.
Avengers Endgame is second, right after Avatar.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
because James Cameron is such a petty motherfucker that after Endgame came out and passed Avatar, he re-released Avatar movie theaters so that it could get like fucking however what is this 200 million
yeah,
200 million
not even
dollars
180 or something like it's anyway.
is what I'm saying. Like 200 million is what it totally ended up grossing in the re-release when people went to go watch in the movie theaters, and then that counted towards it taking the number one spot back, which is
That's
just
wild.
like
I did think it was interesting. I'm pretty sure the Avatar movie is like the first 3D movie I ever saw, right? And then when I went to this movie, because I haven't gone to the theaters in years, I have gone a couple of times since COVID, but not much. And then the first thing I see with these 3D glasses on is a fucking ad for a new Avatar movie. I was like, get the fuck out of
Yeah,
here.
yeah, for sure. There's the Fire and Ash trailer was in this movie. I saw the same trailer. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, Endgame. I mean, I guess Marvel can be petty too and re-release Endgame in a couple years and take that
probably
top
will.
spot back. Um, but the point that I'm trying to get to is that it was the top grossing movie of all
Right.
time for a little while there. Um, it's a pretty big movie. So yeah, I guess you've seen enough clips. I'm pretty sure you've seen clips of like Thor landing. That's actually Infinity War. Infinity War. Um,
Right.
the clips of Thor landing in the middle of the battlefield and like swinging his hammer around. White men love that scene. White men love Thor. They all
Bro, it's
swear
Viking shit. I love
Viking
Norse mythology. I read it.
white
Anyway,
men love Thor. They're like, oh, I'm Thor. I come from Thor's. It's like,
like, I want to hate, but I'm not
listen,
hating on that.
white men thinking that they have some correlation or relation to Norse, Vikings, and gods is the same thing as all black people saying, we were kings once. We weren't all kings once. Some of us had to be the peasants. Some of us had to be the, not everybody's a king and not everybody's a queen in Africa. And guess what? Not all white people are related to Norse Vikings. Matter of
No.
fact, the majority of white Americans are English. You come from English people, and that's it. Like, there's no relation to the Norse Vikings in any way. You know what I mean? Just because you could grow a beard and
Listen,
it,
I
it
think
might
a
be
guy with a
blonde.
giant thunder hammer is cool. I'm not even gonna
Definitely.
lie.
Listen, I think Thor's a cool hero too. I love Thor. I love the depiction of Thor in the movies more so than in the comics. Um, but I loved him in the comics too, right? He's kind of like Marvel's Superman. Um, that being said, again, um, your average white guy is not related to no
No.
Vikings, no
But
Norse
I think
gods.
we all like fucks with it so much. Like, there's so many Vikings related TV shows that are all effectively the same TV show, and I can't help it. Every last one of them is fire to me. I even know when they're mid, but I can't help it. I'll watch fucking Vikings pillage and do all their Viking shit any day of the fucking week. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I like Vikings the TV show more than I like the uh I didn't tune into Game of Thrones because it came out at the same time as Vikings. And I made a
mm,
decision when they first both came out. I was like, I'm watching Vikings. I don't give a fuck about Game of Thrones. And I enjoyed Vikings and nobody paid attention to Vikings. It's crazy.
I
You
like
know,
Vikings.
part of why I backed Vikings was because Jay-Z like was behind something on or Jay-Z gave that show like a good review or like he did like he picked the soundtrack or something. He was at History Channel when they first like something. He was an executive producer. There was some reason that Hove was backing Vikings, and I was like, "I'm with you, Hove. I'm backing Vikings too."
Great show
And
still.
it didn't take off because Game of Thrones took off, and people were watching Game of Thrones instead of Vikings.
I mean,
Um,
like, to be fair, like, Game of Thrones is a giant, almost Marvel-esque production, and Vikings was kind of bare bones by comparison, and you had to really appreciate a good historical drama to like Vikings. But I love me a good historical drama.
I love
That
a
is
good
some of
historical drama.
the best shit out on TV sometimes. Um, that being said, yeah, this was a good movie. I don't really know how to fully evaluate the movie in the realms of the Marvel universe, but having not seen any in forever, and not really having strong opinions coming in. I didn't even watch the trailer going into it. I didn't even realize it was called First Steps until like after the fact. But I really liked it. I was so interested in this version of the Fantastic Four where they're trying to cope with being heroes, and then how it is like everybody turns on them so quickly because of this giant moral conundrum that is it Galactus? Yeah, Galactus throws upon them, and like I'm like, wow, Marvel really be exploring moral dilemmas, and like it was like watching a philosophy fucking class in my face using superheroes, and it was not what I was expecting at all. Because you know, I pictured more of like a carnival ride experience, but it wasn't that. It got me really thinking about shit. Like if somebody's trying to take my kid to use as a vessel for whatever fucking alien purposes, is the planet worth more than my child if my job is to protect my kids? I don't know. That's a hard question to answer because I don't have a kid. Right now, it's pretty easy to be like, fuck the kid, but I don't have a kid. All of my parent friends would point that out to me without a second thought.
Yeah.
So, but watching her struggle with that and then be like, but we'll still save the fucking planet, but we're not giving up the kid. And then they figure it all out. And I'm like, obviously, you know, they're going to figure it out because, you know, if it all ends, there's no more movies.
Right.
So there has to be a victory. So you know that's coming. But yo, it was interesting. Like, you know what I was surprised is like honestly the lack of action, so to speak. They did so much. I felt so emotional watching this movie. I had so many like moments of like watching the fire dude. I forgot his Johnny Blaze. Yeah, Human Torch.
Watching him. Ghost Rider.
My bad, y'all. I told you.
All good.
But then
Johnny
watching
Storm.
him, Johnny Storm, that's it. So watching him like kind of like fall for the Silver Surfer because he's just bored with Earth, and like this one girl. It's like just that whole arc was so interesting.
That's not really why. Like Johnny Storm is kind of like a notorious womanizer in the comic books. He's like the ultimate ladies man, but that's not the wave anymore in 2025, right? Like depicting men being a ladies man is not the wave anymore. But the way that they did it, I think, was a good job. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, so I just felt like the way he went for her was interesting, and then her rejection of him, but still kind of interesting. Like it was cute. It was like this, all these little side arcs, and then the whole having a kid. Like, what is it like to have a kid if you have super enhanced genetics and the world can't do it? And then he does all these tests for fucking nothing. Just being a paranoid ass parent. Which is what all the parents do, right? Because especially rich parents who have the money to do the gajillion motherfucking test ahead of time, only to have your kid come out and God intended it to be different than what all the tests said. Because you can't ever really fully know. I mean, I'm not dismissing.
We believe in God.
Yeah, I mean, all of that. But I'm not saying that the tests are irrelevant and not worth pursuing. But I like the commentary on it, and I just feel like every part of this movie felt like you were meant to think about something in real life as they were like flowing through this adventure of trying to save Earth from something that's going to eat the planet, which is also absurd and kind of funny to think about with the contrast of this little baby that everyone's fighting over. And that was also, they did the baby shit really cute. They pulled that off really well. Like, I didn't really feel it was corny or cheesy. I mean, maybe giving birth in the middle of a wormhole chase thing was a little, I don't know. But either way, coming back, it just felt nice. A little, like, not like in a bad way. If there was a cheesy moment, that would have been the cheesy moment with the kid. But I feel like they delivered the rest of the stuff with the baby really well, and the way they turned down the Fantastic Five shit at the end, like, nah, let's not be too extra with this. Like, I felt like they were self-aware enough in the movie that I appreciated it. I feel like the writing was on point, and like, it was paced really nice. Like, I think it's about 2 hours, so it was like long, like
hour and 55, I believe.
It's not too long. You're not sitting there feeling like anxious at the end. Like,
and you stuck around for the post-credit scenes?
Absolutely. I've watched enough Marvel to know. That's why I saw that scene and I'm like, I don't know who the fuck that is. And that's what I felt. I'm like, I know this is hyping up something, and everyone else in this room is aware of who this mask. Right. Didn't know that. I was like,
That's like he's like the big evil. I mean, he's like
I know who Doctor Doom is. I
arguably
used to watch the
arguably like the he's arguably like the Lex Luthor Joker of the Marvel universe. You know what I mean?
I
Like
used to
he's
watch
like
the
the
90s
most famous.
cartoon.
The only villain that's more famous or as famous as bad, I guess, would be Thanos. The way that DC has Darkseid. Um,
Yeah, I watched the 90s cartoon as a kid, so I really did appreciate the it's collaborating time thing. I thought that was amazing. I thought it was so amazing how they also didn't let it go. They just like drove it home the whole movie just to have him say it, and I'm like, I don't know why I liked it so much. It was like the most obvious setup ever, but when it landed, I still really enjoyed it.
I mean, it's right. Like I think that what they were doing was that they didn't shy away from who they are, what they come from, but they did it in a classy way, right? Like the movie is based in a alternate timeline where in this modern day and age, um, things are like 60s ish. You know what I mean? Like, because they're in a different universe, and it's not like the year is different. It's just that in their universe, the 60s kind of like is the way that things stayed. It's not like they're in 1960 in their universe. It's
Right.
that they're in a universe where the 60s kind of like prevailed and people kind of kept up those
That's
60s appearances.
basically how that's how Fallout works.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so I think that they did that and they stuck to because that's when the Fantastic Four was created in 1961. So, they stuck to that. They didn't shy away from the it's clobbering time thing. They didn't uh stray away from the flame on thing with Johnny Storm. They just didn't shy away from anything for the most part. Um
Well, they didn't do a lot of stretchiness. I feel like Mr.
they didn't,
Fantastic did not stretch a lot in that movie, and I was just
but I think
expecting a
that it's
little.
one of those things where like it didn't need it, like did
Agreed.
did we need any more stretching? Like I think if any more stretching happened, there would be like this like oh like look they in the first Fantastic Four movie they had him stretching in a fucking nightclub dancing with like four women on each arm and it just looked cringe. It's one of the most cringe things about the first movie that everybody like laughs at nowadays because they overdid the stretching thing. It was like, whoa, let me stretch. You know what I mean? It was just like, what? Why? You know what I mean? And I think that they did a good job in not overdoing it too much. Um, all right, so let me get to some of my sentiments. I think this is the best Fantastic Four movie ever made. You can tell that Kevin Feige put a lot of care into this movie. Kevin Feige is the man in charge of Marvel Studios. He's like the um, let's see what his position is exactly. Why don't you go look up Kevin Feige's position at
All right.
at Marvel? Actually, you know what? I'm already
He's
here.
president. He's the president of Marvel Studios.
He's the president of Marvel Studios, which is to say, essentially, he is like the Stan Lee of Marvel Studios, right? Where like Stan Lee didn't create every character, Stan Lee didn't write every story, but Stan Lee was the man behind everybody else and what they were doing, and he was pushing guys to do certain things. He was he was like, "Hey, I got an idea for Spider Man. Why don't you goes to the artist?" And he's like, "Make me a Spider Man." And then he comes back with a bunch of versions. And he's like, "This one," and he's gonna be a teenager, and he's this, and he's that, and he's pushing
He's
the
like Rick Rubin. That's how Rick Rubin produces stuff.
Also like the way Puff Daddy produces things, the way, right? Because Puff didn't ever push any buttons. He just knew what he wanted to hear, and he would get his producers to make what he wanted, you know? And so you could tell that Kevin Feige put a lot of care into this movie. He put as much care into this movie as Stan Lee put into the comic book when he first created it. Um, the quality of the set and costumes, everything looked and felt so 60s, even though it clearly is another dimension and not like the 60s. Cousin from The Bear made such a great choice as Ben Grimm. I'm pretty sure you don't watch The Bear.
I'm up to date. I've watched all the Bear. The whole.
Oh, you have.
Yeah, I'm up
You
to. I've
have.
seen all the. I've seen the whole new season. I
Oh,
can't wait
okay.
for the next season.
Look at you, Holden. Look at you.
I'm waiting for Mr. Street Name to make his fucking verdict.
Wait. Oh, wait. So you must be up to
From the Bear.
six,
I'm
3.
like really up to date on now. Season 4's out. I've watched season
Oh,
4 already.
okay. So then season 4 ended with uh uh fucking this guy in charge of the thing giving it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Cool, cool,
But then
cool.
there's still that extra plot that's gonna save the restaurant that hasn't been resolved yet. That we're all waiting on. And that's gonna be the main thing of the next season because they're out of money, etc., etc. I
Yeah.
digress.
Yes, yeah.
But they set it up, so you know what's coming.
But yeah,
anyway.
I think that Cousin from The Bear made a great choice as Ben Grimm. You can feel his pain of being a monster of the group, like in the movie. But that's something that he brings from The Bear. I feel like he's just always he not from The Bear. I think maybe this is just the actor in real life. He carries pain well, like kind of like I'm in pain, but I'm just gonna chug through it like a classic man. You know what I mean? Like, bro, life
Yeah.
fucking sucks.
I did
I'm
not
gonna
even
fuck.
realize it was him, to be honest.
I'm gonna fucking. That's Cousin from The Bear.
That's hard.
He always has so much pain in him in his characters, and I like how they made it that he doesn't shy away from the Bear's cooking background. Remember, he let me taste. Double checking Herbie's food cooking thing. Um I also really love the idea of Natasha Lyonne of American Pie and But I'm a Cheerleader fame being his love interest. At first I thought she was going to be Alicia Masters, who in the comics is Ben's famous love interest. I love that Natasha's character, Rachel Rosman, is from Yancey Street, which is the neighborhood slash street that Ben is from. Um, she also gives off heavy Jewish woman energy, which, from what I read, she is. She's an Ashkenazi Jew and raised Orthodox Jewish. But from what I also read, she's pro Palestine and stands up against the Academy for remaining silent in the arrest of Palestinian filmmaker Hamdan Bilal by Israeli authorities. I already love Natasha because I can sense the New Yorker in her, especially after watching her movie His Three Daughters with I think that was Natasha Romanoff. No. It was Scarlet Witch, the actress that plays Scarlet Witch, and her and I forget the third actress's name. But pretty much His Three Daughters like made me realize, oh, she's a New Yorker for real. I don't know what it was in that movie, but like something in that movie, I was just like, yo, she's a real New Yorker. Like I turned to my wife and I was like, yo, she's a real New Yorker. Sometimes I can't tell because the New York that white people come from is not the New York that I come from. And it's like two totally different worlds. And we grow up incredibly different like ways. And so where there's a series I was telling you, boom. So the Chads hate that Iron Man was killed off in the movies, and that now there's an Ironheart and there's a young black woman kind of playing the new Iron Man, I guess you could say. But that's kind of like a thing from the comics. And it's just one of those things where like the Chads just they get super upset at the idea of any woman replacing a man, a black man replacing a white man, any of these characters being replaced by any white male characters being replaced by anything other, it just upsets the fuck out of them. And so in that series, Ironheart, that is on Disney Plus, there's an actor named Anthony Ramos who plays the character of the Hood, a bad guy. And Anthony Ramos was in he like first came to fame doing what's that play with the fucking Hamilton. The Hamilton play, and he was also in The Heights, which was the the playwriter's first play before Hamilton. And then when he brought Hamilton to the big screen, Anthony Ramos was also in that movie. He was also in the recent Transformers movie that was based in the 80s. Um, he's done a bunch of things. And the point I'm trying to get to is that when I watch Anthony Ramos, I know that he comes from my New York. I know he's a Puerto Rican that comes from the hood in New York City, and I can sense it off of him without going to check his IMDb bio. But when I see Natasha Lyonne or Scarlett Johansson or oh man, what's that young white girl that just finished passing away last year that was from Eurotrip, and she was also from Eurotrip, and damn, I want to remember her name off rip because she passed. But I do not. Oh, Michelle Trachtenberg. Um, she was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Gossip Girl.
Oh, right, right.
I know her from Eurotrip with fucking Scotty Doesn't Know. Scotty doesn't know. Scotty
That's a
doesn't
great song.
know. And
Classic.
so the point is, Michelle Trachtenberg is also from New York. But like again, I don't know these people are from New York until I do some Googling because they don't come from the New York that I come from. They don't talk the way that I talk. They don't have the upbringing that I have. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you know, but so I found out Natasha Lyonne, who is a super cool actress. I've always liked her as an
Yeah,
actress.
she's amazing.
I loved her in American Pie, and really, but I'm a
She's in like
cheerleader.
like 7 or 8 amazing television shows that I have watched. Like if I see her in a TV show, I binge that show because she never misses all of the shows that she just picks
No,
up.
she always does great things. And so, but finding out her stance on Palestine make me absolutely adore her. You know what I mean? Because Jewish people who are like, hey, they don't shy away from like, I'm Jewish, I grew up Jewish, I grew up Orthodox, I'm Ashkenazi, I'm this, I'm that. I grew up in this way and that way, but at the same time can still be objective and be like, but I do not stand behind fucking wholesale slaughter of human beings. I'm not a scumbag. Or like, hey, you're not a scumbag, which is like the opposite of the actress who plays Wonder Woman, and you know what I mean? Who's like, wow, pro-Israeli.
Well, she's Israeli.
She's Israeli. She's also a scumbag. You know what I mean? Like she's literally gone out there and been like, no, no, fuck Palestine. Like, nah, what?
Nah, I mean, I don't know. I'm Jewish and I do not stand with Israel. I think at this point, anybody that doesn't see the full scale genocide that's taking place is ignorant. Even if you want to talk about Hamas's desire to kill Jews, which is valid, not this response is not justified. Like it's
Not
just
justified at all.
and it's just
There's all
there's an
sorts of
irony because
There's
Israel's existence in the first place is because as Jews we were persecuted in a very fucking similar kind of way, and it just bothers me that is Israel doing it, you know?
if Israel is justified with what their actions are because there are some um, Hamas and Palestinians that want the end of all Jewish people, that means that all Black Americans have the right to Holocaust and murder all white people in America because the KKK wants them dead. So, right? Like, hey, fair is fair. What you allow for one group of people, you should allow for more groups of people. But I doubt that those same white Americans that stand on Israel's side would stand by that logical argument that I just made. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
there's nothing
But
logical about that
it,
situation.
yeah, there's it's not logical. The point being, I really love her because she's a great actress. She's dope, but then to find out things like that makes her even dope. She has
Right.
also played two characters in Marvel Studios world, but both characters are not from the main Earth 1999, which is like the Earth that Iron Man and Endgame and everything else happened in. Um, she played
Right.
Rachel Rosman in this Earth of the Fantastic Four, which is Earth 828, that the Fantastic Four hail from. And she played Birdie, the daughter of Howard the Duck and Darcy Lewis from the Thor movies in What If on Earth 72 124, which is amazing. So
So
she's
all
played
of the
two characters.
Earths are just numbered and labeled at this point, so y'all can keep track of the timelines quite simpler.
I mean, it's always been like that for both Marvel and DC. Like if you read the comic books as far back as like back in the days, like the 60s and the 70s, they came up with this concept and they've always had, the Nick Fury that Samuel L. Jackson is based on comes from the same universe that Miles Morales, Spider-Man, the Puerto Rican and Black Spider-Man comes from, which is the ultimate Marvel universe. And it's like, I think, uh, I forget what it is, 626 or something like that. The main Marvel universe that all the comic books are based on is Earth 616. Matter of fact, I think that the Earth that I'm talking about with Miles Morales and Nick Fury is actually Earth 6161. So they just added a one to the main universe's 616. But yes, all these universes are numbered. The movies come from Earth 1999, 99. Um, and then the What If universe just delves into all sorts of other universes. I just think that it's cute that she played the daughter of Darcy, who's like really beloved in the Marvel universe for being like great comedic relief, and Howard the Duck, which has like always been like controversial, right? Like humans fucking ducks is like what? That's been a thing since the 80s though, when they first made that Howard the Duck movie, which I didn't even know Howard the Duck was a Marvel character all that time back then, because I didn't even watch that movie back then. But yeah, she
The
joins
80s are a strange time.
joined an elite number of actors to have played two characters in the MCU. Michelle Yeoh played Ravager Aletta Ogard in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And then she also played Ying Nang in Shang-Chi. They say over 50 actors have played two characters, but the nuance to these particular two are different than most. Regardless, it's dope in an elite circle to be in. You know what I mean? Chris Evans has now played Captain America and Human Torch since they brought the Human Torch that he played in the original movies into the Deadpool and Wolverine movies. So now officially he's a part of MCU canon because those movies aren't always all a part of the canon.
Oh, I think you froze on us. Yeah. I don't have the same level of knowledge. I hope Flacco unfreezes shortly. But
did a great job. I really liked her.
There
I
you're
was
back.
dying. I was
You fro-
dying for. Oh, I
you
froze.
froze for like a whole solid minute of that, or maybe not a minute, but a good 30 seconds of like you were like, and it was
That's
like,
crazy.
oh shit, I don't know how to carry this part. This is way like we way out of depth for
Oh,
me.
I just see personal hotspot available. That must mean that my Wi-Fi went down.
Hmm.
Um, word. Anyway, I love the way. Wait, where did I leave off when I?
List of 50 characters, the second lady, and they were more significant, and then you froze. And I don't know why they were more significant.
They were more significant. No, I just not they were more significant. These particular two are different than most. Regardless, it's dope and elite.
Right.
Chris has now played Captain America and Human Torch since they brought Human Torch into the main Marvel universe with Deadpool Wolverine movie, making it official MCU canon. Robert Downey played Iron Man, and he will be playing Doctor Doom. The point is, they join. She joins an elite circle in Marvel of
Right.
people who play two characters. I love the way that they point is. Shouts to Natasha Lyonne. I think she did a great job. I was really like invested in her and Ben Grimm. Like I
I
was like,
agree.
bro, holla at her. Bro, holla at her. Like I'm like, I'm like, you better holla at her. Watch the movie and shit.
I
Yeah,
do like his goatee. Or beard thing. That was like
cheers.
a really fun touch, and like his shit just broke, and he's like, ah, fuck, and he couldn't deal with it, and then he was just stuck with this because, the world was ending, and he didn't charge his
Gotta
shit.
save energy. Reed can do what he's got to do.
And it was hilarious because it's like the little things, right? Like that. I think it's those
Little
little
things.
touches that make the movie feel complete in a way where you don't really feel like it's bad. It's like, it does make sense. Like you would want to look good before all of this. Fuck, you didn't time your day right. We all been there. Only this time there's nothing you can do because the whole world has no power.
Right, right. Um, I love the way that they portrayed Human Torch. Usually, Johnny Storm is portrayed as a heartthrob, ditz brain. But the thing is, like Reed Richards' character said in the movie, these are some of the smartest people on Earth. They all went to space. They can't be fucking morons. You know what I mean? So it was a relief to see them portrayed as the intelligent characters they are. Johnny broke the code on the language Silver Surfer Shalabal was speaking, and the fact that her planet was trying to send her message. It was just really classy way of like portraying them. I felt like. Um, I love how powerfully they portrayed Invisible Woman. Her and Johnny Storm, the Storms, right? Like their brother and sister, Johnny Storm, Sue Storm, are really are two strongest characters in the team. Interestingly enough, I started thinking about it, and Mr. Fantastic also has a powerful version of himself. Like the way in the comic books, there's in the movies they have a thing that they portrayed with Kang the Conqueror, where Kang has a council of Kangs, and all the Kangs from all the different universes all meet in an arena, and this is one of the cool scenes that they depicted with Jonathan Majors while he had that role for like a small fraction of time. And it's like basically being in a, it's like if you were to get in a room with all the Holdens that exist across all the universes, right? And and
Whew.
the Kangs are all bad guys because Kang is a bad guy. But like there's a council of Reeds and they're all good guys, but there's one that's a bad guy, and that's the Maker. And like he is like super powerful, like because he uses his mind for bad instead of good the way Reed does. So it's like he's like worse than Doctor Doom. He's worse than Thanos, arguably. Like he's like arguably one of Marvel's top villains now since his creation. Um, Let me look it up.
Marvel goes so deep.
Uh, he was created. First appearance was in 2004. So he's a new character. You know what I mean? Um, Somebody's texting me. Sorry. The point
Okay.
that I'm trying to make is that made me realize that the Thing is technically speaking the strongest character in the group, but he's actually the weakest character in the group because everybody else is way more powerful than him, right? Like Sue Storm, Invisible Woman, fucking pushed Galactus into a fucking trap.
Well, that was on some Mama Bear fucking. Like,
Yeah,
I
but
love
the
that
point
shit.
is that she has
She
that
could do
power.
it.
She can
Facts.
do it. You know what I mean? The point is that in another universe, there's a Reed Richards that is like destroying all the superheroes on the planet. You know what I mean? Including the Avengers, including the X-Men. He like destroys all these superheroes because fucking brains over brawn. You know what I'm saying? So, and then Human Torch in a comic book series is like displayed like fucking in the negative zone universe, destroying like this entire evil universe worth of fucking villains and shit. And so the point that I'm trying to make is that Ben Grimm is the strongest character, technically speaking, but he's also technically speaking the weakest character out of the four of them. And that's just really dope that they showed like they portrayed how strong um Sue Storm is. I also love that their team liaison was black. The Fantastic Four are notoriously vanilla as fuck and pasty as fuck. So it's nice to see them surrounded by a black woman, a Jewish woman, an alien woman. Like, you know what I mean? All these women were like playing the supporting roles to just white people. You know what I'm saying? Um, Julia Garner, aka Ruth from Ozark, aka Silver Surfer, was fantastic. Did
Oh
you ever
shit, that
watch
was
it?
her.
You
Yeah, I
didn't
watched
know that.
Ozark.
You didn't know
She's
that.
silver. She's
Yeah, she's
silver.
Silver Surfer. That's
I
who
mean,
Silver Surfer is. Ruth.
that's
Ruth,
cool.
who's
I
like
think she did a
fucking.
great job.
She did a fantastic job. I kind of want to keep woman Silver Surfer, but I also despise the woman hating, race swap hating Chads online. So anything that upsets them,
I just
you
don't.
know,
Okay, listen.
brings a smile to
Just
my face.
objectively, a silver lady in that, like, she looked bad as fuck. She looks cool and she's hot. Like, what are we mad at? Is what I'm wondering. Because that same group
They're
is, if I'm
always,
not
they're
mistaken,
always, they're
incredibly
always that.
heterosexual on purpose, right? So why would they be mad at a hotter version of the
Because
Silver
they're
Surfer?
not actually heterosexual. Like that's the problem. They have issues that they need to
I'm
face
just
on their
like,
own.
you want to watch the dude version? I mean, I'm not mad at either. I don't really care that deep,
I
but
don't
I
care
was like,
either. I
I'm
don't
just
care either,
confused.
but I really enjoyed it so much that I'm really like, man, fuck bringing main Silver Surfer into the world, bro. Like, I'm cool. I'm cool with Julia Garner. Just keep on playing this role. She did a great job.
Was
Um,
I,
Galactus was depicted amazingly. I love what they did with him. I love the way that like they made him like fucking be the in the original second Fantastic Four movie, The Rise of the Silver Surfer, they depicted him as a cloud. That was like the trashiest depiction of Galactus ever. So for them to get him in frame, looking the way he looks, was just dope as fuck to me.
oh, it
I
was
also,
cool watching him like walk through the city.
yeah, it was cool. Yeah, I loved watching Ben fucking slam through all those things to like make the building start leaning and collapse. That was dope. I liked it. I also cannot wait to see Franklin Richards all grown up in the MCU. He's a beyond god tier character. Hopefully, they bring his sister Valeria to the MCU in the next movie. Um, Herbie was cool as fuck. I loved Paul Walter Hauser as Mole Man. I wish we could have gotten to see the Mad Thinker, the Puppet Master Diablo, and the Wizard on Gramercy Street that Reed mentioned when he was mentioning the gangs. Because I thought that when he said the Wizard on Gramercy Street, that might have been like a nod to Doctor Strange. I might be wrong. That, but the Doctor Strange's address is Bleecker Street in the Village, which is kind of close, Gramercy. So I don't know. I thought maybe that was what he was talking about. I don't know, man. Overall, this movie was amazing. You could tell that Feige put as much care into it as Stan Lee put into them as characters in the comics. Personally speaking, I was never a fan of the Fantastic Four. The first two movies didn't do anything to resolve that issue. The second movie franchise had cool things about it, but also didn't make me a fan. But I loved Michael B. Jordan as Human Torch, and the way that they depicted the Thing, like as a Rocky man thing. I also like Miles Teller as Reed and Toby Cabell as Doctor Doom, but I wasn't a fan of how they made him look. So there were a lot of things that I liked and still a lot of things I didn't like. The point being, the closest thing I ever got into being a fan of Fantastic Four is half a movie, right? Which was that movie that I'm talking about, the last one that they made, and the cartoon series from 2006. Now, were you talking about the cartoon series from the 90s or the one from
Hells
2000?
yeah. I watched all the 90s Marvel stuff and the reruns of the like 70s and 80s ones that were on Saturday mornings to fill slots. So I have
Okay.
like a foundation of old school 90s kind of cartoon Marvel universe down to a point of like understanding the Ultimate Universe a bit, because in the early 2000s they were fucking around with that with Spider-Man, if I'm not mistaken. So I was still
Yeah.
watching that shit because Spider-Man and X-Men were my shit back in the day. um and then it was more like the live action movies I lost interest in, because I wasn't a huge fan of what they did in the 2000s. But the cartoon stuff always really captured my appeal, even into like the teenage years.
Word. Yeah, I was actually a fan of the cartoon from 2006, Fantastic Four, World's Greatest Heroes. Honestly, though, I wasn't a fan of them off of being a fan of those two forms of them in those two mediums. But this movie made me a fan of them for sure. Like they this is what they put as much money they put into the movie. Clearly they put a lot of money into this. I can see Feige is setting them up to be a centerpiece of the new MCU. From what I understand, they'll be replacing the Guardians of the Galaxy as the space team. You know what I mean? Where like the Guardians of the Galaxy were the space team and the Avengers were the Earth team that like handled business on Earth, and the Guardians of the Galaxy handled business in space. The Fantastic Four are going to be the space team that handles business in space,
Right.
and um, the X-Men will replace the Avengers as the main team on Earth. But that's all depending on how much the people let it happen, because they cried about Robert Downey and being killed off, and suddenly uh, they made it that he's coming back as Doctor Doom. So the fans keep forcing Marvel's hand instead of just letting them cook, which is like super annoying, but whatever. I can't wait to see how they bring them into the main MCU and how they tie that post-credit scene from Thunderbolts into them. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right. I like
five
how
out
they
of
ended
five,
it with like,
excellent fucking movie.
I mean, I gave it like a 4 out of 5. I wouldn't say it was like a perfect movie for me, but I also don't have any attachment beyond the individual movie. But I really enjoyed it. I did not feel like it was a bad time. And on top of that, like, I was just in the headspace for this type of shit, because I had just been grinding and grinding and grinding, and then you're just sitting there watching some fun shit for a couple hours, some innocent, like, good shit, and then, back at it. And it was like, it really served its purpose, and I really enjoyed my time with it.
Yeah, I did too. I did enjoy this movie more than Superman. At one point, I physically reacted to the movie with body movements. When Invisible Woman was trying to push Galactus into the trap, I was like, I was like, push it with it. I was like, go, go. Um, and I didn't get
Yeah.
that into Superman that much, but I also don't want to knock the Superman movie. I enjoyed it just not as much as I enjoyed this. You know what I mean? Like if I
Right.
were to give it a grade, it'd probably be like a 4 out of 5, where this was like a 5 out of 5. Um, This was really, really fucking good, man. I really, really, really enjoyed this. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Um, I guess that's that then. I don't know what else to add to this. Um,
That's
but
that, man.
do appreciate all y'all coming through today and watching it. We're gonna be back later this week at some time for the old dirty bass.
Want to set the time now? I could probably do Thursday afternoon.
If we could be like earlier afternoon, better than later afternoon.
I could do 12 o'clock in the afternoon on one
Let's run
Thursday.
that. That works for me.
12 o'clock.
And
I,
then
I was listening to the album today. So 12 o'clock
we'll,
Thursday, we will be reviewing Old Dirty Bastard, Return to the 36 Chambers, 30th anniversary.
yeah, and we'll go through that. And I can tell you, it was my first time ever hearing that project this weekend, and I was like,
Really?
this is never heard it before in full like that, and it's different. So it's a different experience than like I never understood what they meant before by the father of his style, and now I'm like,
He
oh,
has no father to his style. Old
that
Dirty
is some.
Bastard.
I've never. There are things on this album where you're going, you can do that, but no, you cannot do that. Old Dirty Bastard could do that. And
Yeah.
anyway, so that's a little spoiler for Thursday. You're like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. But
I
yeah,
remember doing that as a little kid, but it was.
I don't even. But it's hilarious. It was just. It's a
Yeah.
vibe. It's a whole ass. It's a whole vibe. And then
Oh my.
so we'll go through that, and I'm sure y'all have a lot of fun with that. So y'all could listen to the album now and get prepared for it, or bump it.
We're about to get on a whole fucking Wu-Tang vibe because we're doing Old Dirty Bastard this Thursday, and then on Monday we do Raekwon Only Built for Cuban Links. So
Woo, be running it.
we're
And
running the whole Wu-Tang vibe.
yeah, so appreciate y'all. See you on Thursday at noon, and then Monday at 7 p.m. all Eastern Standard Time. We'll be back. We're keeping this going, and live long and prosper, everyone out there.
Lady bros.
Yeah, waiting on that raid to go through, and